and absolutely had a vision for this developing Malaysia and wanted to do it. And he did a lot of things. And of course, he's extremely disciplined, and he has these work habits. You know, that he basically uses every moment, and he has an endless energy. And he learned this even when he was still at school, or in the Japanese occupation period, when he was selling stuff on the street. He would be reading books. When he worked as a doctor, in between patients, he would keep reading books. He's the same thing. He's out of office. So he's very dynamic and full of ideas. And when he arrived, of course, it wasn't like a breath of fresh air. And he did talk about, you know, taking the country by the scruff of the neck and driving it forward and doing all sorts of things. And of course, you know, he criticised the civil service, which everyone has sort of had problems with. So, you know, that got a fair bit of sympathy, that sort of thing. The name tags might have been a bit of a gimmick and all that, and clocking in, but just the same. But at the same time, I don't think it was a case of everything being clean and then suddenly corruption coming in at a later time. At the last cabinet meeting, when Hussein On was Prime Minister, but he was too ill, in other words, Dr. Mahathir was just taking over in 1981, the cabinet took a decision to set up a phony company to manipulate the international tin market. You know, this is, in the name of a government, setting up phony companies and then lying to the international community for the next 5 years while you manipulate tin prices and try to control the tin market is no small matter. It's corruption on a massive scale. Now you might say, well, all governments, you know, bend the truth at times. They do, but they don't do it they don't set up phony companies. They don't get their key civil servants to register companies and then deny to the international community. So, yes, they had the slogan, you know, clean, efficient, and everything else. But at the very time, and at the same time that was happening, you know, the BMF scandal was unfolding in Hong Kong. At that stage, that was the biggest financial scandal in the history of the world. I mean, you know, it looks like small potatoes today, 25 years later, at a few billion US dollars, but at that stage it was massive, the carrying scandal. And it was financed by BMF, you know, a subsidiary of Bank Putra. So, you know, unfortunately, and this is corruption. This is not, you know, just ill-advised schemes that didn't quite work. So, the scandals and the loss and the corruption was there. Personally, you can see that Dr. Mahathir was driven by his vision to develop the country and by power. He was not driven by, you know, sort of being on the take and putting money in his pocket. Unfortunately, he did tolerate corruption. If people were doing his bidding, then he tolerated corruption when I believe he clearly could have cracked down on it if he was very serious about it.
Okay.